Today's Formula 2 International Trophy race here at Silverstone is the 200th Formula 2 race since this tremendously successful series began way back in 1967. It's a series that's produced no less than 16 of today's Grand Prix drivers, and amongst them are Niki Lauda, Keke Rosberg, Nigel Mansell, and of course Jonathan Palmer. The cars are 2 litres, 340 horsepower. They're good for some 160 miles an hour on the hangar straight here, and the grid is full of new cars and new drivers today. In pole and second fastest positions on the grid for the Marlboro Daily Express International Trophy race are Roberto Moreno and Mike Blackwell in the shatteringly fast Ralt-Hondas. Then in third and fourth positions, second row on the grid, Emanuele Pirro, the Italian driver in the March, and his teammate Thierry Tassin, the Belgian. Philippe Strife is fifth fastest, and Christian Danner, the German, is sixth quickest, ahead of Didier Taze, the Belgian, and Pascal Fabre, the Frenchman. 9th and 10th, Joe Gartner from Austria, and Pierre Petit, the Frenchman. And in 11th and 12th places, Michel Ferte, another Frenchman, and Alessandro Nannini, an Italian.
Well, Murray, now a huge relief for all the drivers. They're out on the track on their own after all the nervous build-up, and now they're ready for the race. They're warming their tyres up on this warming-up lap, weaving the cars around a bit to get some heat into the tyres before they come back to the grid, where they'll sit for 10 or 30 seconds before the start. They'll usually engage to the first gear and roll into their position, but now's when the drivers are relieved. They're ready for a race. Here now, the cars coming down the long straight, hangar straight to Stowe Corner. This taken in 5th gear for some cars. I think the Ralt-Honda drivers go through in 5th gear, the others change down to 4th gear. It's an optional. Most people go 4th. Before Club Corner, the quickest corner on the circuit, which needs driving through, as opposed to Abbey Curve, which is flat for everyone. But this corner just taken with a lift in 5th gear, just a lift off the throttle, then back on the power. And a very critical corner for any overtaking manoeuvres, which of course happen a lot under braking for the chicane, which is the next corner they'll meet.
And which they approach at some 155 miles an hour in these 2-litre, 340 horsepower cars if you are driving one of the 2 Ralts, and about 305, 310 horsepower if you're driving one of the BMW powered cars. And that may well be the story of this race, because the 2 Ralt-Hondas, driven by Roberto Moreno, his first Formula 2 race, incidentally, after his long years of race experience, and Mike Blackwell, have got a tremendous power advantage over the BMW 4-cylinder powered cars. There on the left, number 2, Roberto Moreno, a brilliant pole position in a staggering time of 1 minute 14.8, a speed of some 141 miles an hour, compared with Brian Henton's lap record of 1 minute 19.1, 133.4 miles an hour. So it will be amazing if there isn't a new lap record and a new race record, because the conditions are excellent. We had snow earlier today, but it's all blown away now. There's a very stiff breeze, but it's not slowing the cars at all. The sun is starting to brighten the circuit. The roads are absolutely dry, and the lights are red. It's go! Blackwell weaves a bit. Moreno slots as they go into Cox Corner, into the second position behind his teammate Mike Blackwell. The other 21 starters get away well. It's a clean start. Nobody is left on the line, I am happy to say. They make their way from the first corner at Cox, on their way down to Beckett's, the right-hander, then into the sweeping left of Chapel Curve to go down the hangar straight, and it's Philippe Strife in third position. And an interesting fact about Strife, as he comes down the hangar straight chasing the 2 Ralt-Hondas, is that he had a road crash on his way to the hotel the night before last, He actually started this race with the imprint of the steering wheel of his car on his chest. He hurt his left ankle quite badly, and he's driving in some considerable pain, and already out of the race is Pierre Chauvet, the Austrian driver, and there behind him is Aldo Bertuzzi. So 2 cars off on lap 1, Chauvet from Austria and Aldo Bertuzzi, the Italian. They are well down, of course. Meantime, the leaders are approaching Woodcote, the chicane on lap 1, and it's Blackwell, Moreno, Strife, then it's Tassar, then it's Joe Gardner, then it's Christian Danner, then it's Michel Ferte, and behind Michel Ferte is Didier Tez. And it's a terrific pace they're setting from the start. I've got my stopwatch running on Mike Thackwell to see whether we get a lap record on the second lap before the tyres are even well and truly warmed, and from the way he's going I think we will. Now Strife in the AGS is hanging on well to Roberto Moreno, and we should bear in mind that the 2 Ralt-Honda drivers, Thackwell from New Zealand and Moreno from Brazil, a friend and compatriot of world champion Nelson Piquet, may well be driving a tactical race. Strife goes through in 3rd position. Here is Thackwell leading in the V6 Ralt-Honda, followed by Moreno. Moreno, who's had a lot of Formula Pacific, Formula 3, Formula Ford experience. There, going through in 4th position is Tassar. Behind him is Joe Gardner. Behind Joe Gardner in 6th position is Michel Ferte and that's Guido Dacco. And as you can see, it is snowing on the far side of the course on lap 2. That is Guido Dacco's car. So 3 cars effectively out of the running already. Dacco off, Bertuzzi off on lap 1, Chauvet off on lap 1.
Well, a tremendous start there by Philippe Strife, Murray. He's hanging on to the Ralts, but unfortunately I just saw a haze of smoke there going through Beckett's. There was a bit of a haze the lap before at Stowe, and there could already be a slight problem in the AGS, but he's made a tremendous start. He's probably running a slightly softer tyre than the Hondas, who run a bit more fuel, and he really made a super start. I think his injured left foot probably came off the clutch nice and sharpish, but he's hanging on very well with the Hondas, but I'm worried about some problem with his engine.
Well, there he is, number 6, Philippe Strife, who comes from Grenoble, the 1981 Formula 3 champion of France, and a man who actually last year was Renault's official Grand Prix Formula 1 car tester. Coming up now behind the 2 Ralt-Hondas, who so dominated Formula 2 in 1983, and it's 1 minute 21.3 for the 3rd lap of Mike Thackwell in his distinctive red helmet with the T on it. Moreno 2nd, Philippe Strife 3rd, and those 3 are the only 3 cars effectively in the race at the moment, with Tassin 4th, Ferte 5th, Gardner 6th, then the rest of them piling through. There's one of the distinctive Minardis, and here we are back with the 2 leaders. We are on lap 4. Rolf Wieland, the 3 times or many times world champion in the sidecar class, has gone into the pits to have a battery change, Rolf Wieland. So he's out of the running as far as top places are concerned. And there go the first 3. And already the Ralt-Hondas, designed by Ron Toranak, the man who made his name in association with Cooper Cars and his friend and fellow Australian Jack Brabham so many years ago. The Ron Toranak cars are streaking away. They are different cars from the ones in which Jonathan Palmer, who this year drives for the Grand Prix Ram team, and his teammate last year, Mike Thackwell, finished 1st and 2nd in the European Championship, because Ron Toranak, and you're looking at the Ralt now, has had those cars, or the models of them, into the Williams Grand Prix engineering wind tunnel at Didcot, and I suspect that Frank Durney, Patrick Head and Ron Toranak have talked a lot about the best way to increase downforce, because Formula 2 cars, unlike Grand Prix cars, are allowed ground effects. And look at the sides of the Ralts when you can. Look between the front and rear wheels, and you will see that the bodywork is literally dragging on the ground. They've got wooden rubbing strips at the bottom of the monocoque, And Ron Toranak and his engineers have got those cars perfectly set up for maximum counterfix. There you see the monocoque literally dragging along on those wooden rubbing strips, forcing the air through the Venturi tunnels on either side of the... And that is Lamberto Leone, spinning out in the brand new 1983 Minardi. He was in 9th position, and that means to say that Chauvet, Bertuzzi, Dacco and Leone are out of the race on lap 5, out of 47. And as you can see for yourself, the race veteran Lamberto Leone, because he's been in racing for 9 years and raced a Chevron Ferrari in Formula 2 about 4 years ago, is out of the international trophy, but perfectly okay, and seems to be gesturing that the corner is very slippery indeed. And Mike Thackwell now is leading Moreno by 3.6 seconds as Strife comes up to the chicane, and the gap between Moreno and Strife is 8 seconds. But there is a battle going on for 4th position, and here it is, because now Michel Ferte is up to 4th position in the one of the 2 Martinis, ahead of Thierry Tassin, the Belgian. So it's Frenchman in number 17 Martini leading Belgian Thierry Tassin in one of the latest March 842 cars designed by Australian Ralph Bellamy, with a carbon fibre chassis, BMW engine, tipped down at the front in order to maximise the Venturi effect of the side pod tunnels and therefore increase as much as possible the ground adhesion. And behind Thierry Tassin is Joe Gartner in the 1982 Spirit that was driven by Stefan Johansson so brilliantly. There is Gartner. Now Gartner is in 6th position. Behind him in the all-white car is Christian Danner. There is Danner, number 66. And behind Danner in 8th position is the Frenchman Pascal Fabre. Then number 18 Didier Taze is 9th, and number 4 Emanuele Pirro is in 10th place. Equally as good as Mike Thackwell is the man behind him that's approaching us now, and that's Roberto Moreno, who is in 2nd place, number 2. I've said before, and it bears saying again, that the little Brazilian, who is 25 years old, is only driving in his first ever Formula 2 race. He's a man who's had a very mixed career, because Moreno started in karts some 10 years ago at the age of 15. He was multiple kart champion. There he is, fairly flying through the chicane. He was multiple kart champion in Brazil for 3 years. Then he came over to Britain and dominated Formula Ford for some years and won the Formula Ford Festival. And Philippe Strife is out. That is rotten luck. Tiff, you noticed earlier on that he was in trouble.
Yes, I think I spoke too soon. I said the smoke had gone away and it looked like his problems are over. I think the smoke went away when the oil ran out, and now we see the result. So that's very sad for Philippe. He's had a very rough week, what with his road accident and everything else.
And that means to say that this car and this driver, Michel Ferte, number 17, the brother of Alain Ferte, who last year drove in Formula 2, but this year does not seem to be driving in anything. Last year he won the Monaco Formula 3 race and had a few Formula 2 drives as a result of it, and has made his mark. He won the French Marlboro Challenge as long ago as 1981. He was 2nd in the French Formula 3 Championship in 1982. Then he was Formula 3 champion last year. And after that win in Monaco, he was promoted to Formula 2. And he's showing that it's well worth it, because here he is in 3rd position, albeit a long way now behind Mike Thackwell, the leader, Roberto Moreno in 2nd place, both of them in the Ralt-Hondas. In 4th position now, it's the Belgian, Thierry Tassin, in the Mike Earl run Onyx March with the BMW engine. Well, it's going to be a lovely bit of race viewing, because you're seeing these 2 superbly set up Ron Toranak designed cars with their V6 340 horsepower Honda engines, showing the way to everybody else in this race, not just in terms of car performance, but in terms of driver skill as well. Two very, very experienced, calm and collected drivers. Mike Thackwell, 5 years now he has been in Formula 2. He was the youngest Formula 2 driver ever, I should think. Showed his style very early on, as a result of which he's actually driven an Arrows Formula 1 car, I remember, in practice at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix some years ago. So he's driven 2 makes of Grand Prix car already, and he's still got a long, long racing life in front of him, of course, as he exits the chicane, and the time, 1 minute 17.14 seconds, according to my unofficial timing, has just been confirmed. Roberto Moreno actually has gone round in 1 minute 17.1, which is a speed of 136.9 and is exactly 2 seconds faster than the previous lap record. So both Moreno and Mike Thackwell in second and first positions, and you look at them now, are driving at record smashing time, with Moreno the fastest at the moment, 1:17.1, 2 seconds inside the lap record, a speed of 136.9 miles an hour in a 2000cc Formula 2 car. Terrific stuff. And another retirement, the Swedish driver Thomas Kaiser, who's was driving one of the latest Formula 2 March 842s, has retired, and they have pushed his car away. So that's 6 cars out now, excluding Bieland, who has been into the pits. And this is a race. We are watching a race, of that I have absolutely no doubt. And Moreno closes right up on Thackwell as they go into Copse Corner on lap 21 out of 47. And far from this being a static leadership pattern, Thackwell will be watching his mirrors very carefully indeed, and seeing the white and blue mirror image of his own car with that yellow and blue crash helmet of Roberto Moreno, and there it is, big in those mirrors. Roberto Moreno, a great funster. The year before last, he won the Formula 3 Macau Grand Prix on the Chinese mainland, and I watched him there take off his crash helmet and produce from somewhere or other a giant rubber chicken's head, which he put over his own, and to the consternation of the Chinese spectators, drove around the circuit, seemingly like, and look at him, right up now with, and he's closing, he's going to try and take Thackwell as they come into the chicane on lap 21. And as they come through, Moreno leads. Roberto Moreno is showing the way now, and another retirement with Moreno leading. Thackwell second, out of the race now has gone Bate Jans. A terrific scrap at the front, and we've heard time and time again that if you are in a team, the man you want to beat more than anybody else is your own teammate in order to show your dominance in that team. If that is so, Roberto Moreno is certainly showing his mark now.
Yes, Murray, certainly at the beginning of the year you want to get all the mechanics behind you, the tyre technicians behind you, the engine tuners behind you, and if you prove to be the guy most likely to win the championship for your team, it goes on and helps you and helps you. Whether or not Mike's playing the experienced man and letting his young teammate have a few laps in the lead, I'm not so sure, but certainly Roberto went by with a lot of ease, and now it's Mike's turn to sit behind him, think what he's going to do next. And also, of course, to read their pit signals in case Ron Toronac, the team boss, does start throwing some team orders at them. But at the moment, there looks like no orders at the front.
And they come up behind Alessandro Nannini in the Minardi, who is in 10th place and about to be lapped by the new race leader, Roberto Moreno from Brazil, a friend and countryman of Nelson Piquet and Mike Thackwell. And they both blast past the Italian, the young Italian, 23-year-old Alessandro Nannini from Siena. Roberto Moreno, it is often forgotten, was so admired as a driver by the late Colin Chapman of Lotus that he gave Moreno a testing contract, and it looks as though Thackwell is going to try and pay the Brazilian back as they come down into hangar. Is Moreno going to be able to close the door? No. New leader. First Thackwell led, then Moreno led, then Thackwell led, and now Moreno does it back to the New Zealander on lap 23. And the times are tumbling. 1 minute 16.7. That's nearly a full second off the previous lap record. 1 minute 16.7 by Roberto Moreno, and that is a speed of 137.5 miles an hour. Thackwell leads, Moreno second, pulling away from Nannini. Cox, the left-hander at Maggots, flat out. From Maggots down to the right-hander at Beckett's. Third gear, 120 miles an hour. From Beckett's to Chappell, the sweeping left-hander, 150 miles an hour. Into the hangar straight, Thackwell leads, Moreno second, past Daco's car, past Strife's car, into Stowe, fifth gear, 150, believe it or not. From Stowe to Club, lap 24, Thackwell leads, Moreno second, Ferte third, Tassin fourth, Gartner fifth, Fabre sixth, Tays seventh, Pirro eighth, Danner 9th, Nannini 10th, and has been lapped. Fastest lap, Moreno, 116.7, 137.5 miles an hour, and he closes on Thackwell. Superlative Formula 2 driving. Thackwell takes a look in his left mirror, and there is the implacable Roberto Moreno peering through his visor into Thackwell's eyes through his mirror as he does so.
The interesting thing here, Murray, is they're all about to catch up with the amazing 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th place fight. So find them weaving through. It's very easy for a back marker to look in his mirror when he sees a blue flag and allow the leader through. But when he's had someone behind him for many, many laps with blue flags being waved all the time, sometimes he thinks the blue flag's meant for the person that's trying to take his position. So these two are about to have a very interesting time. There we see the big battle between the Martini of Tays, Pirro in the march, Danner in the march, and Danner is the first man that they're going to attack very shortly now.
Yes, tall Christian Danner, there he is in the white March 842, the BS engineering car. That's Christian Danner, 3 years in the official March Formula 2 team, 83, 82 and 81, out of it now, through the chicane, chased by the leaders. The 9th man is going to be caught shortly, number 66 that is, German Christian Danner from Munich, who wears glasses whilst he is actually racing, and he's going to be caught and passed first of all by Mike Thackwell, then by Roberto Moreno, and that is the very latest 1984 March, driven by one of the quickest Formula 2 drivers, and it has been lapped by the 1984 Ralt-Honda in 25 laps in this 47 lap race, and Roberto Moreno's taken a little longer to get past Danner than Thackwell did, and that's given Mike Thackwell, the New Zealander, the chance to extend his lead a bit, but I suspect that Roberto Moreno will soon close up, and anyway, Mike Thackwell has got a problem now, and that's overtaking this lot in front of him. There's Pirro. Pirro is the target man now in 8th position, number 4, Emanuele Pirro, in the red and white car, comes from Rome, Formula Abarth champion in 1980, and he has now been passed by Thackwell. Now, Thackwell's next target is Didier Tays in the 18, car 18, the red and white car, and he's slicing his way through the tail enders. Didier Tays is in 7th position. He moves over, he lets Thackwell through, but he takes the apex on the corner and closes the door on Roberto Moreno, who is now going through on the inside and taking Didier Tays, and in the process closing up on Thackwell. The two leaders are absolutely together again on lap 27. In this 47-lap race, New Zealander leads Brazilian, Ralt-Honda leads Ralt-Honda. In 3rd position is Phil Fete in the Martini. 4th is Tassin. Now there are the two Ralt-Hondas. They've got ahead of Didier Tays, the Belgian. Now they've got a bit of a gap, and the next target is Pascal Fabre in the blue and white car, number 33, the Frenchman, who is in 6th position. And it's Joe Gardner their win now.
I think everybody's going over. Moreno there, going round the outside of Thackwell, and they're about to go either side of Joe Gardner.
Look at this as they come down to the chicane. Roberto Moreno sees his opportunity, passes his teammate Mike Thackwell, and Thackwell has repassed him, and they're closing up on Joe Gardner. A magnificent scrap between Mike Thackwell and Roberto Moreno. Moreno's back in the lead. He's got through on the inside at Cox. They're slicing their way through the field. Moreno leads, Thackwell 2nd, Fete 3rd, Tassin 4th, and they have lapped up to the 4th place man now. There's Joe Gardner, lapped up to the 5th place man. There is Gardner. Well, what a searing pace, Tim.
Well, yes, Joe Gardner's been the man this whole group's been trying to get past for all this race, and even the leaders are having a hard time getting past Gardner. I think Moreno's going to do Gardner now coming down towards Stowe, but Gardner's going to lap a back marker himself, and that'll cause more problems for Mike Thackwell behind. And yes, there's Stefano Livio, I think one of the Mazzario cars, almost causing problems for the leaders. This is what you've got to watch out for.
Yes, Livio, a comparatively inexperienced driver, 2nd in the 1983 Italian Formula 3 Championship. Very quick when he tested a Misano at Misano for Mike Earle's Onyx team this year, but hasn't got the race experience of a lot of the other competitors in this race, and it showed there. But now, both Moreno and Thackwell are through. They approach the chicane again, and
yes, Thackwell there, Murray still caught behind Joe Gardner.
Yeah.
Joe Gardner's been the man that's difficult to overtake. I saw there Thackwell nipping out to have a look, and now he's through.
This is Roberto Moreno's opportunity. If he can capitalise on the fact that Joe Gardner was holding up his teammate Mike Thackwell, he could break away. He's certainly broken the toe, of course, the aerodynamic toe between himself and Thackwell in the background there. And if Roberto Moreno, who's got a lot of racecraft and experience, knows this, and he will, he can put in a really quick lap now, and I've got the stopwatch running, and establish his dominance. Look, he's got a big lead now. There's Thackwell behind, a big lead compared with the past. They're coming up now towards Tassin, number 3, who is in 4th position. And the stopwatch is running. The target is 1 minute 16.7 at the present moment by Roberto Moreno, who's coming up to Tassin now. And Tassin, number 3, is in 4th position, and the time, according to my stopwatch, which I can't believe, was 1 minute 15.7. So I'll have to keep my eyes on. If that is so, that is very, very close to the pole time of 1 minute 14.8. And Roberto Moreno is certainly putting in a very, very quick combination of laps as he passes laps Thierry Tassin. And that out of the race is Joe Gardner, the man who wittingly or unwittingly was holding people up, and particularly Moreno and Thackwell. But look at this, the battle for the lead now. Now the boot is on the other foot, because Moreno sees Thackwell come out large in his mirrors and go through on the inside. Mike Thackwell has fought back magnificently. He hasn't, I think, still completely recovered from that heel injury, the after effects of which will probably be with him for the rest of his life, but it has not affected his driving one iota, and we have a new leader. This is the battle between Thierry Tassin, number 3, in the red and white March 842, and Pascal Fabre, the Belgian and the Frenchman, both in the same type and make of car, and they are scrapping for 4th position behind Michel Ferte, the Martini French driver, who is in 3rd place behind, a lap behind, well over a lap behind, the battling Thackwell and Moreno. Tassin, Fabre, 4th and 5th. Who is going to be the braver driver? Because of victory in this race matters a lot, and Moreno goes through. Moreno passes Mike Thackwell as they come up to close and finish lap 40 into the chicane. Tiff, what's going on in your mind when you're in this sort of situation?
Well, certainly at the moment they seem just to be trying to outdo each other. I don't know whether they're waiting for an order to come from the pit board. I've been watching the pit board's been hung out to them from the pit row, and there's certainly no commands for positions on the board. So I think they're like playing a game of chess, these two at the moment, trying to sort of show themselves at the front for a few laps, and probably hoping that while they're in front, the team will hang out an order to hold position. But at the moment they're playing a game of chess.
Terribly disappointing and maybe disheartening for Mike Thackwell, because last year he played second fiddle to Jonathan Palmer, who brilliantly won the European Formula 2 Championship in a Ralt-Honda and won 6 of the races. He was in absolutely superb form, and it's as a result of that that Jonathan's got his Formula 1 Grand Prix chance with the Ram team this year. And Mike Thackwell had every reason to expect that when he stayed with Ralt, he would be in a dominant position. But along comes Moreno at the very last moment, because Ron Toranak held off from making his driver decisions until all the Formula 1 team seats had been filled and he knew exactly who was going to be available to him. And then Roberto Moreno had actually, I'm not sure whether he'd actually signed, but he was certainly on the verge of signing for the New Zealand manager of Formula 3, Dick Bennett, who's brought on so many leading drivers. And then there was a dramatic day at Silverstone here where Moreno came to test for Dick Bennett. Ron Toranak was here, discovered that Moreno was still free to drive for him, and literally got a contract out and organised it on the spot. And so Mike Thackwell, from being in a dominant position, suddenly found himself with a driver of what is very clearly equal ability. We are on lap 42. This is the battle for the lead, which has been changing continuously throughout this race, which has been dominated by these two drivers and these two Ralt-Honda V6 cars. They are Roberto Moreno in the yellow and blue helmet leading, Mike Thackwell in the red and white helmet second. That is the gap between them. The snow is coming down in little bursts, but it does not seem to be affecting the circuit yet. Behind the battle for between these two as they come up to lap Stefano Livio in the Merzario car. There is Michel Ferte, lapped a long time ago, in 3rd position, Thierry Tassin in 4th position, Pascal Fabre in 5th position, Didier Taze in 6th place, and as far as cars are concerned, that means a Ralt-Honda leads. A Ralt-Honda is 2nd, a Martini is 3rd, a March 842 is 4th, another one is 5th, and in 6th place is Didier Taze is Martini, and a challenge from Thackwell, and again he's done to Moreno as he's done at least 3 times before at Club Corner. He's nipped through and Moreno's retaken him.
Well, my game of chess is getting a bit out of hand now, Murray. I watched the pit boards the lap before. They both just had L5, which means lap 5, and 17.5, which is their lap time. No orders, side by side.
Down to the chicane. down to fourth gear, flick through it to start the last lap, and I'll give you the gap, because it looks to me as though it's a gap that you can now time on the stopwatch. And as Roberto Moreno goes across the line to start his last lap, he is leading by 7/10 of a second only. There's the gap visually into Cox. This is the 47th and last lap. Is Roberto Moreno going to win his first ever Formula 2 race after showing so much promise in karts, in Formula 4, in Formula 3, in Formula Atlantic, in Formula Pacific, and now in Formula 2? We'll know the answer very shortly. Thackwell behind him second. This is the last lap, I say again, and we're coming up to the point where Thackwell has succeeded in taking Moreno times in the past, but I don't think he's close enough this time. He's not. Less than half a lap to go now. A famous victory for Ron Toranak, for Ralt-Honda, and for all the merry men who work for Ron Toranak, and they're going to be beside themselves with pleasure, and their cars finishing first and second, which they are bound to do unless there's a mistake by either of these drivers. And Moreno is coming up to the chicane for the 47th and last time, and Thackwell is making his effort, and he closes right up and he goes through and he leads. Fantastic! And Moreno is off, and Thackwell wins. He slows right down. He's waiting for Moreno to come through, and it will be a livid Brazilian who is sitting there now. He can't restart his engine. So, as a distraught and no doubt furious Roberto Moreno sits there in his silent and static Ralt-Honda, desperately trying to start his engine, within sight of the checkered flag, he at least has the consolation, if he can think about it, that he must finish second because the checkered flag is out and no one can go as far as he has already gone. And he's got it going, he's got it going. Well, after a nail-biting finish, Mike Thackwell wins for Ralt-Honda from his teammate Roberto Moreno. In third place in the Martini, Michel Ferte. Fourth in the March, Thierry Tassin. In fifth position is Pascal Fabre in another March. And in sixth position, it's Emanuele Pirot, who, like the others ahead of him, was in a March. And the fastest lap in the end by Mike Thackwell at a speed of 138.8 miles an hour. Exciting, slightly snowbound Formula 2 racing from Silverstone, but next weekend it's the South African Grand Prix from the sunshine of Kyalami, and that's next Saturday. And you can see it live on Grandstand with, as usual, of course, highlights in Grand Prix in the evening. So join us next Saturday for the South African Grand Prix.